You know what, friends? I don't really care what the groundhog says. I think spring is right around the corner. I can almost feel it. We are literally this close to whipping out our tank tops and our beloved jean shorts. Oh, how I've missed you so. Just can't wait to put you on. God, I shouldn't have eaten so many cinnamon buns this winter. But before you put away your winter clothes, consider taking some sweaters that you were thinking about getting rid of and upcycling them with one of these creative DIYs. Okay, for our first DIY, we are going to upcycle an old sweater into a pair of cozy slipper socks. To get started, you're going to trace your feet onto a piece of paper and then cut those out to use as templates. Then place on top of the ribbed part of the sweater as a guide and cut out to make two identical pieces of sweater. These will be the bottoms of your slipper socks. Next, cut the sleeves off of the sweater. These will make the leg of your sock. Pull one sleeve over your foot and leg. You want to cut off any excess, so using a pair of scissors, cut all the way around your foot so the sweater just barely covers your foot all the way around. Now, all we need to do is attach the bottoms to the tops that we just cut. To do this, I am just going to hand sew the two pieces together with a needle and embroidery floss using a blanket stitch. Now trust me when I tell you my sewing skills are not good. They're not even average. They're like below par. So if I can do this, trust me, you can do this. If you don't know what the blanket stitch is, I will link a simple tutorial in the description box for you to use. And as you can see, my stitching isn't perfect, but that's okay. I think it gives it like a cute homemade vibe. Maybe. Anybody? Like an Etsy? Kind of like anybody feeling like an Etsy vibe at all? So after that, your slipper sock is completed. I decided to add a blanket stitch around the top cuff of the leg as well, just to sort of give it a cohesive look, but that is totally optional. Our next DIY kind of turned out to be one of my favorites, and it is a home decor DIY. We're going to take an old sweater and an old cardboard box and make a cute storage tin. So you'll start with any cardboard box and cut off the flaps if they have any. Then if you want the box to be less deep, the one I was using was really tall, you can just cut some additional length off the top of the box. Place your box on top of the sweater you're going to use and cut a strip with an additional 2 inches on the top and bottom. Take this piece of sweater and stretch it over the entire box and fold about 1 inch of fabric around the bottom and hot glue it into place. You're going to continue this all around 4 sides, folding up the corners on themselves as you go, kind of like you're wrapping a Christmas present. When you get to the end, fold the raw edge of the sweater inward for a more finished edge and then hot glue into place. To complete the box, you're just going to repeat the same process on the top, folding the sweater inward into the box and hot gluing into place. And then there you have it. You went from an ugly cardboard box to a cozy sweater box that you can use around your home to store all sorts of stuff. You could put books in it, or dog toys, or keep your makeup in it, or you could use it as a secret stash to put your sweets because you don't want your husband to find them because he always eats all your sweets. You could also use it to hide your booze. Although I can't really think of a reason you would need to hide your booze unless you're underage. And I don't condone of underage drinking, so in that case, use it to put your textbooks in because you should be in college studying, doing something to better the world. I don't know what you young people do these days, but put that stuff in there. Macrame and scrapbook stuff. In our next DIY, we're going to take a sweater and keep it as something you wear by upcycling it to a cute open back style sweater. This DIY is super simple. You're going to start by taking a pair of sharp scissors and cut straight up the back of the sweater. Now, because I want it to be a little bit more open as it goes down towards the bottom, I'm going to cut a little extra off to make a triangle type of shape. Next, I'm going to use something called fusible bonding web, also called sometimes stitch witchery. If you've never used this before, it kind of looks like fabric tape, but when it gets hot, it turns into a fabric adhesive. So I'm going to fold the raw sides of the sweater inward and then iron the fusible bonding into place. This is going to prevent my edges from fraying. Next, I'm just going to take a piece of Velcro that I have and I'm going to stitch it onto the top of the 2 corners so I can Velcro the open back into place. You can get Velcro at any craft store, but you could also just stitch this into place if you didn't want to mess around with Velcro. But there you have it, voila, you've updated this into a really cute open back top. Okay, this is just a friendly PSA to let you know if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe before you go so you don't miss any more videos. Our next DIY is going to make a cover for a cute planter. Now, if you follow me on the Instagram machine, You may know that I am a self-professed, whatever the opposite of a green thumb is, like I can't keep anything alive. I'm trying to get better. I really want to have like living plants in my house. So I have a small collection in my new house of plants and I've been keeping them alive, God willing. So I thought this was a really fun DIY to jazz up one of my planters. You're gonna start by cutting off the sleeve of the sweater. You could use pretty much any part of the sweater. The sleeve's just easier because it's already kind of round. And you're gonna cut out the area of the pattern that you want. Then wrap it around the planter to find the height, and you want to cut it to be the same height of the planter plus 1. So if your planter is 5 inches tall, you want to cut this strip of sweater to be 6 inches tall. Wrap this piece of sweater around the planter to check the circumference and then cut off any excess. Then you're just simply going to hand stitch the 2 loose ends together, place the planter inside this newly created sleeve, and fold the extra that's up towards the top inward to give the top of the planter a nice finished feel. For our next DIY, we are going to be kicking it back to a DIY that I did back in high school, which is creating an off-the-shoulder top. So using a pair of scissors, you're going to cut from the neckline down towards the sleeve about 1/2 inch, so right where the shoulder is. Then you're gonna cut along the neckline. My little hint with off-the-shoulder tops is less is always more. So start with like 1/2 inch that you cut off all the way around to start, and then put it on and see if it's right, and if you want to cut a little bit more, then cut another 1/2 inch, and so on, until you get the desired off-the-shoulder appearance that you want. Because sweaters are not like t-shirts or sweatshirts, they will fray if we don't do something with the raw edges. So again, we're going to come in with the fusible bonding web and use that same technique where we are going to fold over the raw edges inward and then iron them into place to keep the edges from fraying. After you've done these DIYs, you probably have a lot of sweater scraps left around, so for our last DIY, we are going to turn those scraps into adorable coasters for your coffee table. So you're going to start by measuring out squares of felt that are 4 inches by 4 inches. Then you're going to cut equal sizes of the sweater you want to use. Using that blanket stitch that we learned in our first DIY, you're simply going to sew the 2 together. And then that's it, you got coasters for your table. I'm actually using these on my new coffee table right now. Alright friends, that does it for all of these DIYs. Really quick before we end, I just want to quickly say if you're a longtime viewer or you are a usual viewer, you like to watch all my videos as they come out, I want to thank you for all of your support and your love. I did take a month off from YouTube. I moved house, which is why I'm in a blank room right now. Packing up your entire life and then unpacking your life is very, very time consuming, but I also just kind of needed to take the time off for myself. I always think it's really important to take breaks when your body and your mind tells you that you need to, especially with something that's a creative process. And for me, my YouTube channel, my blog, just my whole But First Coffee brand is a very creative process, but I think sometimes it's important to take a break and to step back and to make sure that, you know, I'm creating the content that I want to create and I'm sort of like following the mission that I want to do with what I'm doing. But that's it. That's the end of this video. I'm back on my schedule, so I will see you guys all in my next video. Are you helping, Austin? Are you helping us with that sweater DIY? Thank you. Okay, get out. Go away. You just want to be famous on YouTube, don't you? I want to let you guys know this is how I really look in the frame, and I was squatting the entire time I filmed that video because I like to work out my glutes. No, just kidding, because I didn't have enough time to get the tripod just right, and so when I'm doing these videos, I'm doing so much talking, and I'm kind of like, I know I talk loud. I know I talk loud because you tell me in the comments how loud I talk. I'm not sorry about it. But like, it's like a workout. Or maybe I'm just out of shape. Should probably do some sit-ups.